Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we begin, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, we had a number of events happening. Now, we had Deku, Bakugo, and Ochako. These three were battling off against the Demon Lord when he was put on the run. Now, this was certainly an interesting battle. Deku used Nero's bow to try and cause way more damage to the man. They had him on the back foot before he spent the remaining amount of his magic to teleport to the ritual chamber inside his castle. Now, upon doing this, the Demon Lord enacted a plan he's been making for thousands of years. He took control of his mortal half and forced them together. It may not be perfect for right now, and while there is still a lot of damage to the soul, that can be mended once they take down Deku and jump to him as a vessel. His ability is what they need. Now, whenever they then fused, they took on more forbidden techniques from the ritual chamber. Afterwards, they tried to fight off against these three. With the fact that Deku, Bakugo, and Ochako were already low on magic and restored some of it using potions, they were not in very good fighting condition. Deku and Bakugo ran out of magic by the time the Demon Lord sucked most of it out of them. Along with the fact that they were using destruction magic, they wore the man down. Eventually, Ochako was able to drive a spike through him and seal away his power. All they were waiting for was for Warcry to wear out so they can kill him. Now, this does have its ups and downs. They were able to seal his power, yes, but they need to keep an eye on him to make sure he can't do much. If he gets any of his magic back, he can start back up on all of his bullshit. And that was a very dangerous proposition. They're in the endgame right now. But then things decided to take a bit of a turn. The Eldrazi, with all the things that were going on in this realm, they woke up. And the Demon Lord was terrified of them. In his frantic drive to get Ochako and Baku to pay attention to this, he accidentally gained their attention. And Baku and Ochako, something in them told them to run. Something way older than instinct. Deku, he was able to get into contact with Galor's spirit. He was able to take it down, but he had to absorb something in order to make sure that the god can not only be killed, but not resurrected. And this had some unforeseen consequences. Now then, with that being said, Deku vanished and people, they're not too sure what happened to him, but he woke up in the astral plane, on a boat with no pants. So that, it's at least better than dead, mildly. Now then, with all that being said, let us begin. It's been about a year. The world has begun to return to peace. Magic was unstable for a while, but it slowly began to sort itself out. The Feywild, they had their own problems. They pulled magic from their sibling realm. Well, that land was barren, desolated, and had echoes, its own form. The Feywild was wildly abundant, but now it's beginning to go down. The lands of wild magic they have in their world are beginning to disappear, presumably sucking themselves into the Feywild. And that, while it is interesting, means they have a lot of other problems they will soon one day have to deal with. Right now, we do have Queen Lillian. She does sit there on her throne with a lot going through her mind. She thought about taking a bit more of a break. She took a short one and then another short one whenever she had to give birth to her child. After that happened, she took back on her responsibilities, but being a new mother and dealing with all of this, she keeps getting recommendations. Yes, she'll talk to Vesa, Indra, and, well, now that Thiela's around, she's not certain. It's not good. And this, it does go through her mind. A lot of the personal problems she's dealing with. Her waving the person off and turning to the person who's documenting everything for the court, informing them, going to stand. Pass this off to the Royal Council, and if they can come to some terms with this person, then that will be quite good. Fact of the matter is, when the festival does go off tomorrow, they do plan to try and go on as business as usual. However, with the appearance of the hero of Cronulla, there is a lot the city still does want questions answered about. It's simple. They don't know. And if she does have to reinstate that in another meeting that people want with her, then kindly inform them she will put a boot so far up their asses that it will, you know what, just tell them if they ask questions like that again, then they will not be deemed important to answer any future questions. The person going to clearly mark something out and write it down, grabbing a crystal out of the air and informing the queen. They will get to this right away. However, is there anything else she would like him to pass on to the royal court? No. I believe that's all. You are dismissed and court is adjourned. Her waving them off. And when they do go to leave, she does go to somewhat slump forwards in her throne. All of this seemed easier whenever she was younger. I mean, she can almost remember the day when the hero appeared. It's hard to believe that that boy turned into a man. One so powerful and willing to do what he needed to survive. Indra's talked about the stories and she's worried about him. Her climbing back to her feet and talking about it. Telling somebody about how she'd like them to bring the boys to the cave. She will be going there now, and if anyone has any further questions, then that's all. Her waving to somebody who does get a nod. A maid with demonic horns going to quickly move off. And this does go to mean something. And we do actually have Indra. Indra couldn't believe Deku died. No one really could. I mean, it was not an easy proposition. The very idea of it was laughable. It's something that doesn't seem possible. She got the cave redone. She designed it in a way that Deku talked about. And there is the fact that her children, they've asked about him. They remember him. And she's not sure the best way to explain to them all of that. It's certainly something. And right now, we do have where the princess, the queen, does go to walk into a room with a dragon in her full incarnation. Right now, her trying to nap away the day as she's done so for quite a bit of time. And whenever Indra does go to open one of her scaled eyes, she does go to see Lillian. Right now, her holding one of her sons and trying to ask exactly if she's going to sit around and mope all day again. What about the familiar? Is he going to do anything? He's out hunting. And little Wrath is out as well. They're proof he's alive. I'm not so certain. I don't know. He would have returned by now, wouldn't he? Villain walking into the room. Her holding up something and expressing. Asking the queen if she would like to have a seat, and if Indra would like to assume her mortal form, since she has prepared lunch for many of the children. And she believes that they do have some applesauce for the kids if they are able to eat. Right now, Lillian nodding her head, asking Indra if she could eat, since she's fairly certain they might have pie. And this is met with a mighty growl from the dragon's stomach. Her shrinking down as Valin does go to bring a hit on to Lillian's shoulder. Her turning her head and staring at the maid, who does give a solemn nod in approval for what she just said. Talking about it. She made too. She believes that she'll be hungry. Best get a slice while she can. Her nodding her head. And right now, there is where Baku no Ochako, they're both making their way to Granala. Ochako's done quite a bit of time. There. Ochako has done much in a quite bit of time with nothing to do. No more training other than for discipline, and plenty of things in the world to work on. She's thought about becoming an artificer, someone who can make magical artifacts with all the stuff that was left behind from the planeswalkers of Nero's age. He finally was put to rest. He's finally passed on after that intense battle, and he's willing to leave the world in their hands. It means quite a lot, to be honest. They're truly heroes. The world has honored them, but they don't know that one of them might be... No. Kirishima's the one who died. Besides, it's Izuku she's talking about. The asshole's too stubborn to die. This is going through her mind, as right now she has to stand up out of the chair made from clouds. It going to vanish behind her as she does this, stretch her back and begin to move. Right now, going to step into a room and go to tell somebody about how, if they're all done, then she is fairly certain they're still on the move. Her stepping out onto the ship and going to look overboard. The cloud they're sailing on is still high in the sky, and the massive boat, it does catch a breeze that feels just right on her face. Her just thinking about it. It's a magical artifact she created, one she's still testing out and perfecting, but she heard about magical vehicles people make that can fly. They're like movable demiplanes, but way more complicated. And this one, she could not resist the literal idea of sleeping on a cloud when she found out magic like this was possible. I mean, it's every girl's freaking dream. Plus, with her knowledge, she managed to recreate TV. And, well, showers are nice. The stuff that they got certainly is great. Then again, She's got a few other projects to work on. Stuff that can help improve life in this world in general. She's wondering what Bakugo's been up to, though. She's fairly certain that they'll talk about it more when they get to Granola. And we do actually have Bakugo. Bakugo, him and his family, they are on the move. He does currently sit aboard a skyboat, a vessel capable of flying its way through the sky. Granola is becoming a more highly magical area, and people, they are happy about this. The place has also expanded quite a bit in the last year. They have an arena, and they even do have gladiators. People who talk about and host events there. It's becoming a more large-scale hub for adventurers. Along with that, they do even have a statue of Izuku there. They have a statue of all of them in their cities. All three. The three of them. And that thought does still somewhat sour Bakugo. Kirishima doesn't even get to stay buried. He's dead and forgotten. He went back home and even talked to his own mother. She's happy he's alive, but their relationship is complicated. She left his dad, and, well, things from there got really weird. Apparently, a lot happened in Japan when he wasn't involved. Though Deku got a quirk. Huh. He's still not sure about all that, but hopefully he stays locked in Tartarus. That thought rushing through his mind, not happy about the way his world turned out. And he does get a turn. Right now, him looking out to see Granola, as he does, as someone pointed out, holding his daughter. And she does stare out at the sky, a bit wary of what she's seeing. And we do have for everyone, they do go to arrive. Ochako and Bakugo making their way through security and even going to make their way into the castle. When they do get into the courtyard, people have begun to talk about quite a lot of things that have been going on. But whenever Bakugo and Ochako do get to see each other, they're both surprised, quite alarmed. Ochako, she hasn't changed very much. Though with the baby she does get a hold on to, he does realize one thing may have happened. Right now, him giving her a smile and a nod. Her nodding back to him as she does get to let go of her husband's hand. The wolf-like man going to turn looking at Bakugo. Him a little stiff in the shoulders and spine. And she does try to ask about it. So, exactly what's going on? Lillian stepping out, as Thela does come walking out as well and go to nod her head to the two, expressing, "It's quite good that both of them are here." Okay, that's nice, but I kind of had a bit of a busy schedule, working on a few things. I could stop by for the celebration, but did something happen? No. As far as we're aware, we were all called here. That would be correct. Thela walking out as she is going to hold on to her child. And this does mean quite a bit. Everybody beginning to stare at her as a bright light does get a flash. Right now, it pouring down from the sky as someone, they do go to crash down into the courtyard and the light does begin to fade. Bakugo and Ochako getting ready for an attack as Bakugo does get a hold off on he does it to pass off his daughter, his child, to his wife. Right now, him getting ready and manifesting a blade. Ochako herself passing off her weapons and going to get ready. And people, they do to stare on at the light that does go to fade. As a man in a blue kimono does go to raise himself up slowly and begin to bring up his hands. As Deku, he does his own stretch. Right now, him going to express. Well, now, after so long away from the material plane, he's got to say he's definitely happy to be back. And everyone, they do to stare at him slack-jawed. Him walking up and going to wrap his arms around Thela, as he does it to tell her. He's happy she was able to understand his intent with all that. And, well, who is this? Yes. This is Lavas, your son. I am happy to see you again, husband, especially in the flesh. Though your aura is quite different. You are as well. Yes, I am. Right now, Indra and Lillian crashing into him to hug him. And he does go to grab onto both of them and give them a hug. As Bakugo and Ochako do go to stare at him. Right now, them both lowering their attacks that they were going to wield against him. Ochako's spells going to disperse. As Bakugo does go to drop his axe and stare on at Deku. Just bewildered at the very fact he's alive. And the two do come walking up. Right now, Lillian asking him questions as Indra does sob into his chest. And he does get to talk about it. Right. There's a lot they probably need to go over, but right now isn't exactly the time. Where the fuck have you been? You've been gone for long. So long. How are you here? I don't understand. It's a long story. Quite a complicated one, too. I don't exactly know how to explain it completely, but I can give it a shot. We thought you died. Yeah. Sorry to disappoint, I guess. But that's not really my thing. I'm too stubborn to die. Ochako snorting a laugh as Bakugo does a walk up to Deku and hold out his arm. Right now, Deku going to pull away from his family as he does reach out and grab it. The two falling into a hug as he does express, "It's good to see him again, brother." Deku patting Bakugo on the back and going to express, "It's good to be back." Though he's been a bit wary about all of this. Bakugo pulling back from their embrace as he looks Deku in the eye. And the former dark gray to black part of his eye is gone. It's now normal. But his golden eyes do still remain. This strange orange color that they usually were. And he does stare at Deku kind of surprised. "Yeah, I know. I kind of fixed it. I got rid of what was left of the curse. And it took me some time, but I put myself back together. I have a lot of questions." Ochako is stepping forwards, and he does get a turn to look directly at her and give her somewhat of a nod. He can try to answer them from his side, but he's got a lot of questions too. He knows the Demon Lord died, especially that day. But what happened on their end? He was still too powerful. I impaled him with a rod that wouldn't allow him to take on magic, and, well, he just sat there empowered by Kirishima's abilities. Warcry was still active when the Eldrazi came. Yeah, that's another thing we have to talk about. Deku rubbing the stubble on his face. Right now, them staring at his beard as he does it express. It's a whole thing. He learned a lot more from his time on Mount Celestia. But right now, though, they should just enjoy the day a bit. He wants to talk to them more a bit later, but if they don't mind, he really would like to spend it a little bit with family. Both of them going to nod their heads. But they do just want to throw a glance towards Thela, as she does just want to try to keep a straight face. Yes. He contacted me expressing that this would be the best way to inform all of you. Though I do have to say, it is quite amusing, but I myself am quite happy he is alive. Her giving Deku a gentle smile, expressing her grandmother would definitely like for the two of them to meet once more, especially with his new status as a divine. And Baku no Chako do a glance back at him, them staring at Deku as right now their gazes do get affixed back to him, wanting to know a bit more about that statement. And he does just get a shrug, telling both of them a lot went down. Like he said before, he's willing to talk about that later, but if they do want the cliff notes, well, after taking out Galore, he absorbed some divine power. That's the best way to put it. He doesn't know what it was, but it basically made him ascend. With the fact that there was an immense amount of death he was exposed to in the Abyss, and what he did to Galore by killing him, he is technically a demigod. Or, well, almost a full god. You're serious? You're a god? I don't believe it. It's gonna happen to both of you guys too. I just sped up the process by a few decades, I guess. And that's what Nuva told me, and she's been helping me through a lot of things. If the next words you say that come out of your mouth is that you're hooking up with a goddess, I'm gonna smack you. And then I won't say anything about that at all. Him flashing both of them a bit of a grin. And they both do just go to stare at him annoyed. Though he does express, in all seriousness, no jokes at all. A lot's been going on from his perspective. He spent some time in the astral plane just trying to mend his own soul. After he shredded himself through a wood chipper, he pulled himself back together. And she started helping him out, understanding more about his new position as a god. He's unsure of a lot of things, but he's the god of will and strength? He's not sure. He's the god of spirit, from what he understands. Ridus is still catatonic, but he's gonna want to meet with him when he wakes up. Plus, there's a whole other conversation they need to have. But again, he just wants to spend the day with family. Can they understand this? Both of them going to nod. And Deku does turn to Bakugo, expressing, Though they do need to have a chat themselves after everything is said and done. Him, somewhat tensing up his Deku, does go to glare him down, his eyes flashing blue before returning back to their normal color. And Bakugo, he's fairly certain he just felt someone splash cold water over his very soul. So yeah, that chat won't be fun. Right now, both of them understanding and turning to their own families. Deku seeing that as they do begin to leave. Ochako raising her hands and manifesting something for her family to leave upon, heading back to her vessel as Bakugo and his family do just go to planeswalk away. Right now, them trying to just deal with their own thing. And Deku just stands there in the courtyard, taking in the wind in his hair, the air in his lungs, the feelings he does gonna get from all of them. He's free. Free of Mount Celestia, free of everything. Oliver and Pyra are still dead. He's not the same man he used to be. He was broken, but he got up and put himself back together. Time and time again. Also now, he can do what he does. He wishes that they were here to enjoy this peace with him. They deserve it more than anyone. He can understand those feelings from before. Those echoes, those fleeting moments, those things that his mind couldn't completely wrap itself around. He knows what it is now. He's happy to know what it is. But their families. The little boy who has Oliver's name, his nephew, yeah, that's going to be his responsibility. He'll make sure that that family is well taken care of, along with Pyrus. She was a friend, a girlfriend, and, well, her family's been affected. He needs to talk to her father. He saved one of the man's daughters just to doom the other one. And she doesn't even get a second chance to reincarnate or pass on to the next world. Neither of them did. He wants Granala to make statues of them. He's fairly certain that that's not an unreasonable task. Izuku? Yeah? Sorry, I'm just in deep thought. I'm happy to be back. So, I guess there's a lot to go over. Them making their way in to Deku's lair, and he is quite intrigued about the changes they have made. He feels almost like he's walking into a very fancy household. Hardwood floors, and the fact that the walls do carry a bit more color. Right now, him walking in as his children do come to greet him. And fact of the matter is, when he does sit down with all of his girls, he does go to enjoy a bit of a meal, along with some tea, as Indra, she already called her father, letting him know the good news. Izuku's alive. And the man, he already did teleport over, wanting to see for himself the good news. And Indra, yeah. Whenever some people came by with food, she began to dig in, since her appetite was certainly reinvigorated with the good news. And Deku does stare on at his family members, before turning to Velen, asking her exactly what has been going on in his time away. There has not been much. There has just been the usual, and I have been doing my part as your servant, looking after your family and making sure their needs have been tended to. The little ones have certainly been quite something, but they have been manageable. I thank you. But has anything else been happening? I do not know what you mean. How is your personal life? I'm uncertain of this. I've been gone for a year. You're a beautiful woman who looks elven, and I'm fairly sure you may have had some suitors. If I'm wrong, I have not. People are quite intimidated to approach me. Your aura does read a bit odd, so I'm fairly certain I can see why. But I do want to inform you. Deku holding up his hands. The challenge magic is gone. I made sure to give it up along with making sure that it's gone. With the Demon Lord and his armies defeated, and Galore finally put to rest, put down, it's over. You can do as you will. The contract's been nullified for some time. I don't know if you felt it, but you're free. I have had this odd sense. If I am free, then I would like to do what I have been doing. Caring. Sticking around? Unless you are forcing me to leave? No, I'm not. And if you wish to be part of this family, then we can work towards that. We can make sure that happens. You're more than welcome. You've done more than I could ever ask in your service to me. In my absence. Her smiling. And Deku does go to turn, asking exactly where Shomo and Coco are, since he's pretty sure the both of them are going to be surprised to see him here. They're coming back from an adventure? They should be coming back today. Yes, Sir Theodore, he's been under pressure from Pierce to make sure to come back soon. They're doing some mild monster hunting, but Pierce has been quite adamant about him taking care of their child. Oh, right. How's that going? Well, it's been going quite well, but I believe Theodore is, as the term is, in a bit of hot water with his girl. The two have been having some problems, but that's mainly because he's been stepping up in your absence to train your students. I'm certain I can handle that. Let the man retire. In fact, I'm certain he does kind of want to. I need to talk to him about Druso. And Lily, if you have a minute, I want you to know. I took him out. Her turning serious. I understand. I don't think you do. I have his body with me. I want to bury him next to your mother. You do? But I know. It's not me wanting to act human. I've had a lot of time to think about what his last words were. When we fought. He only had the best intentions for this kingdom, but even then, as a warrior, I will respect the dead. I will not dishonor them, and I will not desecrate them. If I'm being honest, I'd rather you not know what I would have done. He's gone. Let the truth stay hidden. Usun Druso died years ago. The man we bury is just a memorial, an echo of what the man was. Her going to somewhat nod her head, still alarmed by her own father's actions. She never knew the man, but what he did, what he's done. She wants to hear more about it. And Izuku does suddenly stand expressing, well, this reunion isn't complete. Where's Vesa? She is going to be alerted. In fact, she's on her way, but she's in the middle of a training course, along with seeing family. Him nodding, expressing, well then, he's going to go ahead and complete that. He'll be right back with his mother. Him vanishing, but smirking at the looks of shock covering their faces. And Izuku does gonna find himself back on the beach. Right now, him staring at an ocean, he does gonna remember. He trained here. He busted his ass to make sure that this place looked beautiful. Training for 10 months. The last 6 years of his life. All dedicated to pushing his body as hard as he could, physically, mentally, spiritually. He saved this world from the Demon Lord, but so many others were doomed by the man. The multiverse was ravaged. Some worlds are gone because of him, and others descended into chaos. Worlds affected by magic that he's not sure can be undone. There's no magic in this world, except for that of his aura, and that surrounding him. Magic is beginning to manifest, slowly but surely. It may take a few years or decades, but his presence here is going to affect that. And right now he is at a turn. His clothes going to change as he doesn't find himself in a red shirt, black pants, and a black jacket. As he does begin to walk towards his home, just trying to take in how his city has changed. His hair does return from its white color back to black, and his eyes do return back to the green color. And Izuku, he does slowly but surely take his time. The feelings of his city, the strangeness of it, the foreign nature he does it feel walking down it. As if he's on vacation. As if he is a visitor. And that trek home does feel a little heavy. Even for him. A new divine. Right now, him making his way up to his mother's apartment and knocking on the door. Waiting for it as it does go to slowly open. The woman on the other side expressing, she's not interested in, hello. Hi. I'm sorry, are you selling something? No, it's good to see you again, Mom. Mom? Isuku, you. This isn't funny. Him staring at her. And she does glare back at him, expressing, her son's been dead for almost 5 years. If this is some sort of joke, it is not funny. She lost her husband and her son. This joke is not funny if it is one. Leave. Her attempting to try and slam the door, and Deku does throw out his hand to stop it. Her glaring at him with anger and sadness in her eyes. And he doesn't tell her, it's him, Mom. Please, listen, it's him. Just listen to his voice. It's been a long time, but there's a lot that's been going on that he wants to tell her about. Did Ritus let his goodbye through? Did he at least say goodbye to her for him? Let her know what was going on? And she is at a freeze hearing that name, staring at him in a new light, looking at him skeptically before asking, Did Dr. Matthews send him? Who's Dr. Matthews? How do you know who Ritus is? I've never disclosed that to anyone but my doctor. Your doctor? Yes. Okay. If you're my son, tell me one thing only he would know. Other than the fact that I was obsessed with All Might as a kid, and growing up, everything was a little difficult. I was training for the chance to go to UA, and there's that. That doesn't narrow things down. Fine. How about I tell you about that interesting story? The one with Mitsuki and Bakugo, about what happened at the amusement park whenever I was 5? It is you. Yeah, Mom, it's me. Come in, please. Her going to rush at him to pull him into a hug. Her quite alarmed when she has to smash herself into a wall of muscle. Her wrapping her arms around him and someone crying into him. Him going to hug his mother and step into the apartment, feeling like a stranger in his own home. But this isn't home anymore, is it? Right now, him going to walk over to a couch and sit down, seeing that the apartment has slightly changed from what he does remember. And Inko does go to walk over and express, sitting down herself. She doesn't even know where to begin. This is unexpected. He's alive? But where has he been for the last 5 years? Sorry. Ritus. That's a whole story, Mom. Listen. Him going to lean forwards on his arms, telling her. He really does want to give her the full story. But with a doctor and everything that he's heard so far, he's a bit worried about her. You vanished. For 5 years. Why? Mom. You're seeing a doctor. Why? Because of strange dreams? Because some dream tells me that my son has ran off to a different planet after I report him missing? The fact that it's so clear as a memory, but I don't remember talking to that person. It's been driving me crazy. My husband passed years ago in a villain attack. And after that, I've just been alone with Mitsuki and Katsuki, her son. The Bakugos have been good to me. They've been understanding and somewhat patient. They know I'm not doing well mentally. Mom, Ritus is real. How do I know that you're telling me the truth? What did Ritus tell you? That you're gallivanting around a different planet trying to save the world? That's not untrue. Him holding out a hand, telling her. He can give her proof. Not just that, but if she does want to, he'd like to introduce her to his family. You have a family? Yeah, Mom. I've got quite a few kids. You're married? Uh, technically, yes. That's a whole other complicated story, Mom. One I'd love for you to talk about with them. Your family. Yeah, you'll love them, Mom. They're amazing people. I see. Her hesitantly reaching out and seeing Deku's perspective. The day Ritus chose him as a champion, a hero. How he suddenly appeared in another world in his first few days as an adventurer. Training, trying to get stronger, get more powerful, understanding magical abilities. And whenever she has to pull back, she has to look at Deku in a new light. He was meant to kill somebody. The Demon Lord. A very evil man, from what she can understand. And then he could return home. 5 years. I don't understand. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Mom, when I ask you the next question. Would you like to meet your grandchildren? Him holding up a hand, expressing. He understands that her world just got a lot larger and a lot weirder. But this is what he's been living with for years. Please. And we do cut back over to Granala. Avessa, she showed up. Her and her parents quite happy to see about what's going on. And whenever Lillian talked to Theodore, he came rushing back double time to see what was going on. If Deku's alive, he wants to see that basher in the flesh so he can suck his damn teeth out. He's made a habit of dying and coming back from the dead. Now, Deku does suddenly go to appear. Right now, him standing there with a woman that no one recognizes. Her looking around the room, bewildered. And she has to turn to the group of people who do go to stare at her. Right now, them surprised as Theodore does sit there in a chair with Shomo and Coco, along with a multitude of other people and a Drake. Right now, him blowing on a cup of tea and going to slide the pot over to Izuku, expressing, "So this is the famous grandmother. This is quite interesting. Hello. I'm uncertain of what to say. It's nice to meet all of you. Izuku, which one is your wife?" Her looking around the room, staring at many of the women here who are holding children. And Izuku does get somewhat wince, realizing he forgot got to bring something very important up. And Indra, she does go to sit there. About to stand as Thela does stand herself, bowing and expressing, "Hello, grandmother. It is going to be quite hard to explain this if her husband has not before, but all of them are with him. Every woman standing in this room is with her son, and their children are his children. Fact of the matter is, as far as she's aware, Nuva is the only one not currently in this room who is with her son. If that does clear everything up." Inko glancing back at Deku as her eyes go wide, and he does gonna nod his head, expressing, "That about sums it up." Her turning as she does go to bombard them with some questions. Alarmed as her grandchildren do go to sit there. Right now, the Dragonkin rushing her, trying to bombard her with questions since they don't know who she is. And Thela, along with Vesa, do want to ask her questions as well. Right now, Deku rising to talk to Theodore, along with reuniting with his students, quite happy at the progress he's seeing in their own training. And he does express to Theodore about how he'll be taking things back over again since he's back in the land of the living. But right now, he would like to talk to Baku no Chako, reaching out to both of them mentally. And this is where both of them do go to contact him. Them going to reappear outside the city of Granala, as Deku does somewhat sit there with a cup of tea in hand. And when the two do to manifest, they do go to see a table and a pot. Both of them glancing at him and beginning to talk. So what exactly is this all about? There's a lot to go over with both of you. Okay, so let's just go ahead and jump into the meat and potatoes. How are you alive? Long story. The divine gifts we got, I think. It's the best way to explain it. And what? I have questions about the Eldrazi. Questions about the divine. Stuff like that. I can't answer some of those questions. Listen, both of you. One day you'll do what I did. You'll ascend. That could be years from now, that could be decades from now. But until then, I want you both to know. Me and the gods have been talking about ideas, things to do. With the Abyss gone and Shadowfell destroyed, there's an imbalance. I'm currently trying to rebuild that and fix the imbalance. You're trying to rebuild an entire plane of reality? Yes, actually. That's insane. I know. And that's why I want both of you to help me. Why? It's a massive project. Something that we could all do together. Consider it part of our retirement. But most of all, listen to me. The Eldrazi are back to sleep. Whenever I blew my horn and the Demon Lord was activating some powers, we think it's that combination. What was happening in the Abyss woke them up. What are the Eldrazi? I don't know. No one knows. They're essentially, they're the things inside the compost bucket. I don't understand. There's a possibility that when a world exists for too long, the Eldrazi will show up. If it contains magic, then they eat it. They eat reality. The gods are fairly certain that they're back to sleep, and they might not wake up for some time. They feasted pretty well. But, fact of the matter is, they exist. The gods call it the blind eternities. But that's where they live. Outside of what we perceive as reality. You're sure? I'm sure. Right now, that's where they live. They had a meal, so they're back to sleep. For now, we're safe. But we don't know how long that might last. If the Eldrazi do wake up again, I'm not certain we can take them on. The best we can do is try to make sure that doesn't happen. Make sure they stay asleep. So we need to work together. What will we even do? We'd find more planeswalkers. Is that even possible? Aren't we the only 3 that remain? I don't think so. As far as I'm aware, planeswalkers ran, planeswalkers fought. Their choices are as varied as we are. Arcades could be planeswalkers for all we know. You're serious? I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like the idea that my son could be a planeswalker. I understand that. Listen, I'm not saying it's a truth, but there's a chance. We need to make sure that the realms stay safe. That's why I'm proposing we work together. When the time does come, and more planeswalkers either are born or we find some in the multiverse, I'd say we try and recruit them. Make sure that we can regulate the worlds. Make sure that evil doesn't rise to the height of the former Demon Lord. The former Demon Lord. Gonna be honest, I like that sentence. We can't let another one rise, if that's the case. If we're all immortal like that, yeah. I understand your thought process. I've looked into it. Yes. There is. Just don't think about it too much right now. I understand. I'm willing to help out then. Give what knowledge I can as a saint. You're a saint? We all were classified as saints after the Demon Lord's death, along with heroes and a month-long celebration. Yeah, speaking of that, I do kind of got to get back to family. We can start working on that project a bit more later, but right now the lands just need to settle. Figure out a bit more about the magic it's accumulating and help to fix the imbalance. That sounds amazing. Yeah. I'm willing to help you out with what you need. But I'm going to be treating this a bit more like a hobby for now. I won't be too serious into it. And I'll wait for others to begin to be either born or found. Then you'll have to start paying me a salary. Him giving Deku a bit of a grin, to which Deku does get a return. Right now, Bakugo, returning back to his family as Deku, does do the same thing. Right now, him, well aware of what they will be doing soon. Plans for the future and actions of now. And Deku He does it to bury Druso, trying to think about how this man's affected his life. He was a monster in his eyes. He won't deny that. He can't forgive him. He torched his soul after what he did to his friends. But letting him be buried, letting him have his own twisted sort of peace, even if he isn't around to enjoy it. He's come home, and that's where he'll stay. That's where he will stay. Deku finally putting this chapter of his life behind him, deciding to move on as both a mentor and a father, and quite happy that his family has accepted his mother into their fold, especially with the way her eyes, they're better than ever now. She's happier. He can sense it. She doesn't feel like she lost her damn mind anymore. Perhaps there might be a place in this world for her. And that thought, it does gotta fill Deku with happiness. A little bit of peace. But right now, he's gotta make sure his students haven't been slacking off since he's been gone. He might be a god, but even then, he won't allow them to be lazy. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. And that does bring us to the end of What If Deku was summoned to a fantasy world. Now, I won't even lie to you guys. There is a little bit of bias whenever it does come to Druso. This entire story was made because I thought of his character in the bare bones whenever I created him. And as I built more and more upon him, he just got better and better in his mind, and he wanted to exist. Now, this Deku was certainly a fun one to create. An interesting one to dive into, especially considering the fact that I did full send it into the D&D storylines and the world that they do have. Now, I'll be completely honest. There were moments in this storyline I thought were interesting, crazy, and even fun. A lot of it was research, and a lot of it was just me either talking out my ass about stupid things or just saying stupid sentences that I could say because of magic. I mean, come on, it's magic! No, but in all seriousness, I did have quite a lot of fun making this storyline. And I'm glad I got the chance to fully flush it out. I know I made the Isekai storyline, and that one was more custom, but this one did take heavy inspiration from D&D. Now then, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed this storyline, and I do hope you guys will continue to watch the next coming stories. Have a good one, guys.